Sometimes protecting the planet means leaving it alone as much as possible. We need to respect nature and its limits, and that means allowing it to take care of itself. Welcome to a new edition of Eco Africa. I'm Chris Alems, coming to you from Lagos, Nigeria.
And I am Sandra Kahumza Twinobrio, joining you from Kampala right here in Uganda. On the show today, we'll be looking at ways to minimize our impact on the environment. So here is a quick look at what we have coming up. Strategies to calm the baboon-human conflict in urban areas. Fire-free alternatives to slash and burn agriculture. And a Gambian rapper using his platform to raise environmental awareness. But we start the show on Lake Victoria in Kenya with a look at an aquaculture practice that makes use of existing water resources. Cage fish farming is more sustainable than land-based fish farms. Even better, it makes economic sense. Some say this method has the potential to transform fish farming in East Africa.
Today's catch has just arrived. Louis Makabe works as an agent with Juliet Fish Farms on Lake Victoria, Africa's largest freshwater lake. A mother of three, she's glad to work for a company that believes in empowering women.
A privilege that I have in Juliet is the fact that we can sit, talk, and share a meal with my bosses. In other companies, you're not allowed to voice your opinion.
The early hours of the morning are the best time to collect the fish. Enos Weri and his family founded Juliet Fish Farms over a decade ago. Today, it's specialized in cage fish farming and selective breeding.
We've grown as a major hatchery, a leading hatchery in Kenya, producing 1.2 million fingerlings per month. When we started, we were doing 150,000 fingerlings a year.
Juliet Fish Farms grows primarily Nile tilapia, which is highly sustainable and in growing demand. Crucially, it has a high tolerance to changes in water quality, which are governed by environmental factors. Information on water quality and other parameters such as fish stocks is provided by the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, which has an office on Lake Victoria.
We look at the environment and the organisms that live in it, and we monitor the environment, the water parameters, how they change over time and in space, and also we look at how that affects the fish and the people that depend on the lake for survival.
Over the years, the lake's fish stocks have been badly depleted by overfishing and illegal operations, dropping by 25% in the last decade. Aquaculture reduces the impact on the lake's biodiversity and also improves food security.
We cannot significantly increase production from the wild systems. Wild systems, I mean natural production. And apart from the extracting rates, the water quality is deteriorating over time, mainly driven by the climate change, makes the water unfavorable for some species.
In comparison, cage farming allows for better control of the production environment. The Institute identifies suitable species for aquaculture and also offers training to businesses focused on sustainable fish breeding.
You need to have people who understand the stocking densities, like how many fish you can have in a certain area, how to feed them, what type of food they need to grow, and also how do you manage diseases, because with crowding, it's a recipe for spread of disease.
Enos Weri has a master's in aquaculture and recognized its potential early on, inspired by examples in Asia.
I remember I was looking at the history of cage farming in Thailand. When there was a lot of capture fishery in Thailand, fish farming was not quite given attention. When the wild stock started going down, fish farming became quite significant. Likewise, that's what is going to happen, or what's already happening in Kenya, in East Africa, in Lake Victoria.
He now shares his expertise in an aquaculture academy, a training program for aquapreneurs in East Africa. his company aims to have at least 60% female employees. The sector can drive social change in local communities, he believes.
We have women that we've changed their lives directly because a good number of our workforce are women. They get enough money for themselves and for their families, taking children to school. Some also have established other business besides just working for Juliet.
As an agent for the company, Louise Maccabi is supplied with ice to keep the produce fresh. In the past, she got around with motorcycle taxis, but now she can use the company truck. She regularly delivers to 15 to 20 female market vendors. They too are earning well, thanks to Juliet's payment system.
In other companies, you pay cash on delivery. That's why they have to come to Juliet, because you get fish on credits.
A sustainable business model, a sustainable industry. Aquaculture is helping ensure that Lake Victoria can still provide millions of East Africans with a livelihood.
Water is such a precious resource. As we've just seen, our lakes and oceans need protecting from the damaging effects of overfishing. But we also need to stop pollution, a problem all over the world.
We're heading now to India, where water bodies are contaminated by untreated sewage all too often. That's partly because septic tanks are one of the most common sanitation systems. So how can they be made more efficient?
The water that Deva is pouring over his flowers was recently used to wash the dishes. All the wastewater from his house ends up in a biotank.
Whatever we do, we should keep nature in mind, because it is the ultimate power. So we should try our best not to pollute it.
With a conventional septic tank, the wastewater is collected and emptied at regular intervals. It's not uncommon for that wastewater to end up in rivers and lakes, polluting the environment, according to Sai Prakash from the city of Coimbatore.
With biotanks, the sewage water gets recycled. It can be used for different purposes or drained into the ground.
This is how it works. All wastewater from a household ends up in a collection tank. There it is mixed with enzymes. They help the bacteria to convert the sludge into water very quickly. From there, it passes to the filtration tank. Here, small particles are collected and treated again. At the end, the purified water is discharged from the tank. Some pour it into the ground, others water their garden with it, like Deva. He had to get used to having a biological toilet, but it didn't take long.
One thing that we need to be cautious about is cleaning. Generally, we clean once or twice a week, but it's important not to use any acidic products. In rare cases, if we're away on vacation for a month, or if someone accidentally uses acid for cleaning, then there is a chance that the bacteria can die. Then we have to add more enzymes, which is safe to do. Otherwise, it's generally low maintenance.
The eco-friendly biotanks have another advantage. They cost only half as much as the conventional septic tanks. They may be made of concrete, metal, or plastic, depending on their location and the conditions.
Generally, we first examine the area where the tank is to be built. If it's local, we visit the site in person. If it's somewhere else, we ask them to send us a video. We also need information, like how many people are living in the household and how frequently guests visit the house. We then design the tank accordingly. Normally, our tanks have a capacity of 1,000 litres.
Owners don't even need to clean the bioseptic tanks themselves. That too is done by the eco-friendly bacteria, all free of charge.
Our next report brings us back to Africa. Across the continent, slash and burn agriculture is widely practiced. It's a simple yet effective way of ridding fields of excess vegetation before preparing the soil for the next planting. However, many believe that torching crops residues in forest does more harm than good. But there is a simple solution. Let's go to Ghana to find out more.
Africa is burning. A thick cloud of smoke hangs over a large part of the continent several times each year. Satellite images from NASA show how fires stretch like a red carpet from Central Africa across the southeast all the way to Madagascar. Small-scale farmers like Fusuyeni Isufu regularly burn their fields. It is a widely practiced technique.
The fields are exhausted and produce no yield, so I'm preparing this land for plowing. If you don't cut and burn the vegetation that's here, you can't plow it.
Though this may seem relatively harmless in rural northern Ghana, the practice exacerbates climate change. Slash and burn agriculture is a quick and low-cost way of prepping land for planting. The fire releases nutrients sequestered in grasses and bushes, such as nitrate, sulfur, and potassium. That's free fertilizer for farmers. Unfortunately, the technique is not very effective. For instance, 90% of nitrate disappears when burned. So the soil is soon depleted again, says Stephen Yeboah, an agronomist in Accra.
Slash and burn farming practice have significant impact on food production. Because one, it leads to soil degradation, and soil is the basic resource for food crop production. And for that matter, you have high levels of erosion all over. And then it is estimated that about 20,000 tons of nutrients are mined through soil irrigation every year. And that's very, very significant when it comes to food production. So you have all these nutrients that is required for food production being mined through soil erosion caused by slash and burn farming practices.
Other issue is the use of heavy machinery. Tractor tires compact the soil, while earth churned up by plows dries out quickly. The result, erosion and desertification. Many in northern Ghana depend on farming for a living. Now, an EU-funded project wants to convince farmers here to simply do nothing. That is, to let their fields lie fallow for a while.
In fact, there are people who even think that if you don't burn your land, you can't farm. So that is quite a challenge. That the knowledge and the awareness of CA is not out there. Also, the period of transitioning from conservation, from conventional agriculture to conservation agriculture, there's a time gap where you will not fully get the benefit of CA, and that also is sometimes a discourage for some people to do that transition.
CA, or conservation agriculture, means no slash and burn and no plowing. Practicing succession planting keeps the earth moist. The plant roots loosen the soil, enabling it to recover and increasing biodiversity.
The project taught us methods which we didn't know before. We used to plow the field with tractors. They taught us not to slash and burn the field, along with other methods, like planting different crops every year on the same land, or to do mixed cropping on the land. And it's working out quite well.
Saiba Selima signed up for the workshop because she often couldn't afford to rent a tractor. Now her family has enough to eat. The mother of three regularly struggled to feed her family with what her land could provide. Thanks to the succession planting, there is now a variety of vegetables and grains throughout the year. Switching to the new farming methods has been worth it. And Sabina Selima even has enough corn left over for her current harvest to sell at the market.
We are staying in West Africa for our next report, raising environmental awareness among the younger generation works best when the message is spread by someone they admire. But music also speaks to many people. And in our next report, we'll hear how a Gambian rap star is using his massive popularity for a good cause.
Planting trees and singing while he does it. You'd expect nothing else from one of the Gambia's most popular rappers. And he's not doing it by himself. In total, 1 million trees are to be planted by 2027. That's the goal he set when he started the project last year. The chances are he'll be successful, given the support of his fans.
It's been amazing. People have been coming out in their numbers to support the fans, you know, to the from the community leaders all the way to the kids. It's just been amazing. Everybody else is involved.
ST sells out stadiums. People identify with his music, which he performs in Mandinka, the main language spoken in the Gambia, and is known for being outspoken and calling out corrupt politicians.
When they all hate, I love my people. When the rain starts, I'm umbrella for my people. Dilikando kona kei roti for your people. Stay loyal to your people. My people are you people. Don't lie to the people. Speak the truth to your people.
If you have a huge following and these people listen to you and they follow you, you have these kids that want to be like you. You know, they look at what you do and what you say, and you know, when you use your platform to support, say, the environment and stuff like that, these people see that too, and then they feel there is a need.
ST has taken his 1 million trees campaign across the whole country to cities, rural communities, and remote areas. The Gambia's once dense forest cover has steadily diminished over the years due to deforestation, worsening the effects of climate change. Weather extremes such as heavy rains and drought is becoming increasingly frequent.
We have a lot of increase in temperature, daily temperature, because we have less trees now, because we have a lot of people getting involved in cutting down trees for wood production, for construction. Trees contribute to mitigating these greenhouse gases. Trees contribute to minimize the impacts of climate change in our environment.
The rapper has always seen his craft as a way of spreading his message. He's using his platform to encourage his fans to help him in his mission.
I have people that move all the way from this area all the way to anywhere to plant trees. I have people that call me, yo, on your next schedule, please do let us know.
Young and old are taking part in the initiative. ST is financing the trees himself through his foundation. His grassroots efforts to restore the environment's natural balance is inspiring communities across the Gambia to take action themselves. Like Sutu Sinjang in the west of the country.
We are thrilled to participate in these tree planting activities aimed at restoring forest cover. This is our environment, and that's why we are taking ownership, working collectively with the singer to achieve positive results.
Once the saplings are planted, they need to be watered regularly and taken care of to make sure they flourish. The people of Sutu Sinjang are committed to the project. The more the trees grow, the more carbon they store. Deforestation is a global problem. ST sees his project as a message, not just to Gambians, but to the world, about the importance of protecting the environment, combating climate change, and preventing biodiversity loss, and working together.
Political people, NGO people, people for the interest of the people. People, with people, stop using people, vehicle,
Our environment is seriously depleted. We have seen rising temperatures, rising sea level, inadequate rainfall, and you know, I think it's of vast importance that we take our environment seriously, because trees give life.
It's taken a year to plant the first 50,000 trees, and given the enthusiastic response to ST's initiative, the rapper will soon have achieved his goal of planting 1 million.
We wish him all the best with his project. There are so many bad effects of deforestation. One of them is that it results in a decline in insects population, and then the birds, lizards and frogs that eat these insects also start to disappear.
That is right, Chris. And when humans move close to areas that are the traditional habitats of other animals, there is potential for conflict, as our next report from South Africa shows.
This local resident isn't fazed by the traffic whizzing past, nor are all the other baboons here in the suburb of Cape Town. But cute as it is to see them roaming around, they're exposed to a lot of dangers here. After a number of baboons were killed or badly injured by cars, volunteers started a traffic calming project.
I think that is the biggest win, is knowing that when you've managed to do a crossing and there's been no fatality or injury, is always a win. And even though it's very incremental, there has been progressiveness in terms of coexistence in Simonstown.
The baboons can be rather mischievous, regularly damaging property in their search for food. That's why some have called for the animals to be removed or euthanized. The Simonstown resident has found that a drill, some industrial strength webbing and sturdy clips provides a kinder solution.
We stumbled across a video on YouTube of what they do in Canada, and it was basically that. And we thought, well, if it can work for the bears in Canada, it sure as hell can work for the baboons in Simonstown.
The method has proved successful, as the CCTV footage shows. Several restaurants in Simonstown have chosen a prevention strategy closer to the source of the problem. Organic waste is no longer mixed with other trash. Now it's collected in special bins that are set in a secure place for later pickup.
There's not much food in there anymore for them, which means that they hit it a lot less, and they've decided obviously to go elsewhere to go look for food. So the baboons have visited town a lot less regularly in terms of looking for food in my dustbins and a lot of the other restaurants' dustbins too.
Studies have shown that baboons are considered one of the most difficult animals for humans to coexist with. Baboon-human conflict is an issue in several countries in Africa, including Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Ethiopia. The conflict not only causes stress, it also carries health risk.
Baboons coming into the urban area and getting into people's houses as well as their bins, there is potential for transmission of disease across the two species. However, in the tests that have been done in the peninsula baboons, they've shown human pathogens. They've certainly shown cytomegalovirus and hepatitis A. And then secondly, they've found a trichurus, a whoopworm actually, in the baboons. So this would indicate that baboons are more at risk of getting disease from us than we are, then they are likely to give us any disease.
The Waste Separation Initiative in Simonstown not only helps reduce interactions between baboons and humans, it serves another purpose too. Every day, a group of volunteers collect the food waste and takes it out of town to a farm where it's used as pig feed. This steady supply of kitchen scraps enables township residents to bolster their income.
By collecting the food and having them join us on these trips, it's allowed us to be able to build similar relationships with them, as well as giving them the opportunity to take care of themselves by collecting the food and then feeding it to their pigs, selling their pigs, and then be able to have cash in their pocket to be able to buy whatever they need in their house.
Humans and baboons have coexisted in South Africa for centuries, but threats to the animal's habitat have led to increased conflict. Simple as they are, the efforts in Simonstown show that coexistence is still possible, and baboons don't need to be seen as enemies of humans, but as neighbors.
That's it for this edition of Eco Africa. Thank you for watching. I am Sandra Kahomza Twinodio saying bye-bye from Kampala right here in Uganda.
Bye, Sandra. See you again next time. And to all our viewers out there, if you have any ideas on how to look after our beautiful planet, then write and share them with us. We love hearing from you. Until then, check out our social media accounts. I am Chris Olems, signing off from Lagos, Nigeria.